Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Cowboy, aka Nick Petruzzello, 8:30 a.m. EST. Let's jump right into the charts. We're going to start with Bitcoin. I'm going to take a look at some of these data that I put on the chart yesterday. So let's flip over to that really quick here. Bitcoin is holding, and it's holding above 94,000. That was an important move here. Okay. So I got a lot of marks on this chart, and this is the chart that I created for Sunday's show. And I like to leave this up so you all can see how accurate this is. If you go back through the last few weeks of Sunday shows and live shows, you'll notice that I don't know the exact rate, but something like 8 out of 10. I'm doing really well with the charting. Now, Bitcoin here is taking its time after hitting 100,000. It stalled out at 99,600, 99,800, depending on the exchange, right? By the way, in the comments, let me know if you can hear me. Good sound check would be appreciated. We did start yesterday without any sound for a period of time, and that sucked. Okay, so that said, here we are looking at the charts. Looks like I'm having some odd screen difficulties here. Let me try sharing the screen here. See if I can make it look a little bit better. Okay, let's do it this way. We'll keep my beautiful face off the screen for a minute. That way we get some better resolution here. So we're looking at Bitcoin rejecting at, like I said, 100,000, taking its time to pull back. High time frame is still very bullish. Right now, I would expect Bitcoin to break 100,000, and I would expect Bitcoin to do it soon. Okay, that's what I expect. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. However, like I keep saying, if Bitcoin were to be held under 100,000, I would call that manipulation at the risk of sounding like I've got sour grapes because I lost my trades or something like that. But these things do happen. And now that the big money is in the game, such things are possible. So for the moment, Bitcoin following the main path that I drew on Sunday, and it could flip up at any time. If I take a look at the algos on the higher time frame, certainly things are looking very bullish. Let's take a quick look at that. Interesting. My view. There we go. So higher time frame, yeah, definitely looking bullish in the higher time frame, but a little vulnerable. Again, it's a little bit vulnerable. So there could be pullbacks, and there currently is a very slight pullback. Now, the bull market tends to go through January, February. I know that 2021, we had a peak in I think it was May or June. I think that was a little bit unique. And the reason I think it was unique is because of the pandemic. People were at home throwing their stimmy checks in the market, lots of trading going on. $7 trillion created, thrown into the market. So there was kind of a double top there with a lot of money moving around. But the prior markets, that market and even the prior market did have what I think was a natural peak around December. Let's go ahead and take a look at what that looked like, just so we can keep some perspective. Let's go to 2021. I'll go to 2020 December. Now, this is on the daily chart. You'll notice that here in December and through the beginning of the year, we had a sort of a peak, and this topped right here at about 65,000 in April. Okay. So April was kind of a natural high for this one. And then you had this double peak that occurred in November. So now I did misspeak. I said January. I'm going to say April. April seems to be, for the last cycle, the natural top. Then in this double peak here might have been, like I said, stimmy checks and other crazy stuff. So that leaves us some space for the market top to happen anytime between December, which is what happened in 2016, 2017 high, and this last one here that occurred in April, right? So really, quarter one, quarter two, anytime in that time we could see the top. And I know a lot of people who think they're going to see a top in December or January. This could play out for much longer than that. We do have some indicators and options to give us clues on that. So let's go ahead and move to the current time. Take a quick look at Solana. Now, I know some pretty good traders who took a long position on Solana when it hit 220. And I did call this out before on this show that price would maybe come down test this 220 area. In fact, it dipped all the way down to 214. Now, I am not confident that it is time to go long on Solana. I'm not saying it was the wrong move. That particular trader is a very good trader and a friend of mine. However, I do think that Solana might need to regain some strength before it's time to go up. It has really, really ripped all year long. And that being the case, I think we just got to give it a little more time for it to keep going. But what might that look like? Well, we could find that Solana does not want to go below 220 or 210 or 200. I know 200 is a nice round number. I see some market structure there. Let's draw that out. Let's go ahead and draw that out. So price went up, pulled back, made its way to the top. And that pullback is an area where price is going to have a lot of liquidity. And obviously it's it's dived. Obviously it dove in and grabbed that liquidity. Got some issues with my English here. However, you've got a much, much larger bit of liquidity here, really going from $211 down to $108. It would surprise me to see price go much past 200, lower than 200. It would surprise me. If there were a pullback, I would expect this pullback to be just kind of a sideways pullback. We've seen much of it already. If Bitcoin does do like a larger pullback to 88,000, like we talked about possibly happening, you could see Solana dive a little bit deeper. But I think if Bitcoin were to consolidate and not go that much lower, but just kind of go sideways for a while, you're already seeing some of the altcoins pump. You got BNB that's just doing great right now. Chainlink went up to $25. A lot of the 2017 kind of coins are giving us some alpha. Right now you've got Atom, Cosmos sitting at a 10% gain on the day. DYDX is doing great. Let's take a quick look at BNB. This is a subject of conversation with some friends of mine. And good move up here. I predicted this yesterday before it happened in the private group. So anybody who is in the chat that was in the private Algo Factory live lab, please give a shout out for this. Explain that I predicted this yesterday. Got the proof, could even show you, do a little victory lap. I did say that there might be a breakout soon in BNB, and my targets are going to be at about 860 and 1,000, and I think a safe target's like maybe 1,040. I had a little bit lower, 1,025, but we could see BNB just continue up. Very simple Fibonacci extension. If I were to be conservative with this, I'd have a target a little closer to about 920, but I do think it's going to stretch beyond that in the heat of the bull market. And like I said before, we could have a scenario where the bull market is done in January. We could have a scenario where the bull market just steams on and pushes through anywhere between, say, April to June. Could happen. And if that does happen, I think Bitcoin is going to see a top minimally of 120,000. That's if it doesn't get held below that whole 100,000 level, right? If Bitcoin's allowed to go where it naturally wants to go, I think 140 to 160,000 is a decent top. Very realistic, right? Now, let's take a quick look at the indices. Again, time for a little bit of a victory lap. I've been calling these indices like I know the future. My charts, you can go back the last 2-3 weeks, look at the Sunday shows. You see the arrows that I've drawn here, the arrows in the prior weeks. It's all very accurate, and it tends to be my main solid line plan. My contingency lines, these dotted lines aren't really even necessarily playing out. I guess in this case it is. Either way, you're getting a trajectory that's going to put us up to about 6140, 6150, possibly by the end of the week, most likely by the end of the year, right? So we're already a few days into December, lots of time left. I think we could see 6200 SP 500 by the end of the year. Dow, again, just following the plan. And really following the plan, doing great. And I have 45,750 by the end of the year. NASDAQ, oh man, NASDAQ's finally starting to come into its own. Okay, so NASDAQ outperformed all year, and then it started to underperform. And I think it was just because it was outperforming, it needed to take a break. And now it's really pumping. I've got NASDAQ target near term. I thought this would be maybe end of the year, but it looks like it might be more like in a few days, 21,640. I think a generous target for end of the year is going to be around 22,000. But now that I see this trajectory, which is really outstripping what I had planned, I'm starting to think maybe we're going to see that a lot more soon. A lot sooner, more soon. Gosh, having a hard time with the English this morning, folks. Either way, come to algofactory.tech. These predictions that you see, the stuff on the screen, it's not that complex. Everybody thinks it's magic. It's not. It takes some time to learn, but you don't have to have some crazy math skills. You don't have to know how to computer code. If you come to algofactory.tech, especially if you are already a trader, I can help you clean up your trading. We did have somebody join recently, and he was done after 4 months. I said, "Oh, what do we not satisfy you? Are you unhappy with our service?" He goes, no, it's great. He says, I've been trading for years, and you cleaned up my trading in 4 months. I got everything fixed." So, perfect. Yeah, come on in. And if you're not a trader already, of course, we can help you get started. Not a problem. Either way, algofactory.tech. Come learn how to trade like a hedge fund pro. And as you go on about your day, do not forget,
join us or die.